you need to justify to the state why you're doing that, and provide some real evidence as to why this cost increase was needed. And the goal being,
Did that pass?
that did pass. Yes.
It did. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I missed that one too.
Right, I forgot.
I didn't forget, I just missed that totally.
Yeah. And the goal being, once we have this information from the PBMs, we can go back either next year or in 2020 and say, okay, what is that data telling us? What additional policies can we look at to try to curb the cost of prescription drug increases? So, it's kind of the first step in a series of steps that will probably need to be taken, but in my mind, that was one of the most important pieces of legislation we passed this year.
And so what are some of the other prescription drugs, obviously, and we have heard that, and even from, federal lawmakers locally, what are some of the other issues that people are worried about vis-a-vis healthcare that you might be able to address?
Well, I think the cost of healthcare is an obvious one. And, that's why I supported the efforts to bring back the Medicare savings program, because for folks living on a fixed income, that represented a huge savings for them, and a very important part of how they make their living. And I want to keep an eye on Access Health Connecticut and the plans that are offered through Access Health. I think the Affordable Care Act has done a lot of good, and certainly when you talk about prohibiting insurance companies from denying you if you have a pre-existing condition, keeping kids on their parents' health care until they're 26, ensuring that mental health care is covered. Well, these are all great things. But we're seeing a system where there are a good chunk of people that benefit from the tax credits that are offered, but then there are people just above that, right out of range, who are having a lot of difficulty affording those plans.
And that issue came up right in this very newsroom last night because our reporting partners, Connecticut Health Investigative Team, you've probably read some of their stories, did a story about the Access Health enrollment. And one of the editors did kind of a deep dive looking at all the different ways that and he pointed that very thing out. At a certain point, you're benefiting quite a bit, and then once you go over that line, whew, boy, do you get hit.
Yeah.
And and it was a surprise to me by how much people got hit.
Yes, and there are a lot of people that fall in that category, and I assume that a good number of them are making the conscious decision, this plan costs too much, I'm just going to pay the penalty, right? And so not only are they getting hit with the penalty, but they're also not getting health coverage.
And a big risk taking.
Yep, absolutely. So that's a huge problem, and I don't know what the right answer is to address it, but it is a problem, and we clearly need to do something about it.
I want to address housing if we